Hey coaches, have you ever felt like you were just winging it at practice? I can tell you that when I first started my coaching career years ago, I definitely fell into that category, right? You've got a job, life is coming at you, maybe you don't have a ton of time, you arrive at the soccer field and you're trying to set up a bunch of cones and you're not quite sure exactly what the theme of your practice is, but you're just kind of going with the flow. Been there, done that, right? A little secret though. Your parents and your kids all know when you don't have a plan. So today, I'm going to give you a quick start guide that'll help you to build a practice plan that keeps the kids engaged and improving week to week. All right, key number one, keep it simple. Everything that you do when you're building out a drill or a practice plan for your team needs to center around the player. And my suggestion would be that if you have your kids, like most people, twice a week, depending on your age group, you might have them for 60 minutes or you might have them for 90 minutes. You want to make sure that you don't add too many drills, right, into that time frame. What I'd like to do is if you have a 60-minute session, I typically start with a 10-minute warm-up drill and then 2 to 3 drills following that. If it's a 90-minute session, it's a 10-minute warm-up, and it's 3 to 4 drills built into that 90-minute session. Now, when you do your warm-up, it's absolutely important that your warm-up has to be dynamic. And what I mean by that is that the kids are constantly moving. You're not standing in line, and you're not waiting to run the next drill, right? You want to make sure that they're moving, their blood is pumping, and they're getting as many touches on the ball as possible. So here's a video that I want to share where this is my go-to warm-up most of the time. And what we try to do is we have whatever size the space may be, I have the kids spread out amongst that space. Every kid has the ball, and they start dribbling the ball into this open space. And every 30 seconds, I'm going to call out a specific skill on the ball that I want them to execute. For example, maybe I want them to execute a pullback on the ball. So as they're dribbling into open space, I will say pullback, and then they will take the ball and they'll pull it back. Maybe this skill is an inside turn, right? So I'll call out inside turn and they'll execute the move. The goal of this is, again, the kids utilizing the skills that we've been working on, the individual ball skills, but also recognizing where there's open space, because almost all the time they're going to clump up and they're going to, come together, right? You want to make sure that you're teaching them to go look for open space on the field. And again, I can't reiterate this enough. It's absolutely important that they're getting as many touches on the ball as possible. Okay, all right. After your 10-minute warm-up, like I said, 2 to 3 drills within a 60-minute session, 3 to 4 drills within a 90-minute session. Okay. The second thing that I want to talk about, or the second key, is you got to keep it fun. Kids don't come and play soccer to run drills. They want to play soccer. They want to play a game. So it's absolutely important that as you're building your drills, you incorporate games into it. And depending on the age group that you might have, right? The youngers, they really like games like red light, green light, or sharks and minnows. If you don't know what those are, you can Google it up and it'll tell you exactly what that may look like. But you want to have some sort of a game. For the olders, what I like to do is I like to build in some sort of objective, like scoring the ball in the net, right? So if I'm doing something like keep away, I would set up 4 cones to make a square, 4 kids on the outside, 1 on each corner, 1 kid in the middle, and you're passing the ball around and keeping the ball away from the player in the middle. After maybe 3 passes, then whoever has the final pass, they try to pass the ball into the net, right? So it's not just passing the ball for the sake of passing the ball, but it's about passing the ball to score, right? Because in a soccer game, you're not just passing the ball just to pass. You're passing the ball so that ultimately you're trying to get the ball into the net, okay? So again, keep it fun. Make sure that there's a lot of energy. Make sure that again, they're moving and that there's some sort of objective that you have built into the drill and into the session. Finally, key number 3, stay organized, okay? When you get your team and you're getting ready to start your season or you're starting your practice, I always suggest have a plan, right? What do you want to accomplish with your team? What are you trying to accomplish with developing those individual players, right? And then make sure that for each practice session you're building, that there's a plan for that. I would highly suggest you do not jump from skill to skill week to week. And what I mean by that is, let's say you're practicing Monday and Wednesdays. You're not working on attacking on Wednesday or on Monday and then defense on Wednesday. If you're going to work on attacking or offense, maybe you're working on attacking and offense for the first 2 weeks. And then the next 2 weeks, you're working on defensive principles. One of the things I learned really quickly through the many failures I've had as a coach is that kids can only retain a certain amount of information. So the way that I think about teaching kids is like building a cake. If you're building a cake, there's typically multiple layers on that cake, right? And so, one of the key lessons I learned with my current team, and I started with this team when they were 10 years old, was I tried to do too much too soon. So, instead of focusing on core principles like can they string 3 or 4 passes together at a given time? Do they understand how to play their current position? Do they understand the basic shape that we're currently playing? I tried to incorporate things like overlaps, underlaps, diagonal runs. Went totally over their heads, okay? So it's important that, again, you focus on key things that you're trying to accomplish for your team, but try to do it at 2 weeks at a time. That doesn't mean you have to run the same drill over and over again if you're working on attacking principles. You can vary the drills, right? But your theme for the first 2 weeks is attacking. Recently, one of the key things that we were working on, because we struggled with this the first half of the year, was possessing the ball in the final third of the field. So for 3 weeks straight, we worked on possessing the ball in the final third of the field. And we had multiple drills that related to that theme. And ultimately, we ended up possessing the ball more, and we were able to convert more of our shots into actual goals, right? So again, key 3, stay organized. It's absolutely important. It'll help you in the long run. It'll help your kids learn quicker, and ultimately it'll benefit your team overall. All right, if you've made it this far, I'm going to give you a bonus tip. Now, when you have a team, regardless of whether it's a competitive team, a recreational team, whether it's been the first time you've had this team, or maybe you've had a number of these kids over and over and over again, right? You need to have a communication plan. Every year that I've had a team, I have a communication plan. I communicate to the parents and the players at the beginning of the season what they can expect from me and what I expect from each and every one of them. And then I try to communicate what is the overarching goal that I'm trying to accomplish, both with the individual players and with the team as a whole. And then I try to do a check-in in the middle of the season, and then we do a wrap-up at the end of the season. I have found that has saved me more time than you can think of, because the parents know what we're trying to accomplish. I'll give you an example of this. My team went from 7v7 a year and a half, 2 years ago, and moved into 9v9. And we finished the fall 7v7. Well, for spring, we decided to play up and play 9v9. So we were a 10U team that now was playing 12U girls. So they were about a head and a half taller than most of my girls. And we didn't win one game during the spring. We played multiple tournaments. But the parents were okay with that because I had communicated what the plan was, why we were doing the things that we were doing. And ultimately that benefited us because that next fall season, we went undefeated. All right. So again, super important that you have a communication plan. It'll help you, it'll help your parents, and ultimately it will help your team. Simple, fun, stay organized. That's how you're going to build a winning environment. Coaches, thank you so much for spending some time with me. Do me a favor and subscribe below. That'll help me a ton. As well as I'd love to get some feedback from you. Key topics that you want to talk about moving forward. Again, really appreciate you coming to the Coach's Corner for Soccer, and I look forward to seeing you on our next video.